Season 1 of Netflix's Resident Evil TV show is finally out, and I already discussed the first episode, so if you haven't watched that, go check that out. But this is my season review. It's actually part 1 of my season review. I'm going to release part 2 within the next day or two. So this video is only discussing the first half of season 1, the first 4 episodes. And with that being said, I am a huge Resident Evil fan. I said this in my last video. I've said this multiple times on this channel already, so you may hear some repeat points, especially if you watched my episode 1 review, but that's because I feel like those are still valid points, and I'm sure some people are going to watch this, but not the other one. Anyway, I am a huge Resident Evil fan, and I was really looking forward to the release of this TV show. I did trailer reactions for 2 of the trailers that came out beforehand, and none of them really impressed me. I was hesitant going into this TV show because Resident Evil has been treated really badly in live action, notoriously really badly in live action, and again, the trailers didn't impress me that much. But I will say, and I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again, I am actually genuinely surprised at not only how much I'm enjoying this show, but the level of craft and care that seems to be given to this show by the showrunners and the writers and the producers and everyone involved. This show is definitely a step up, of multiple steps up compared to what I expected. And I will say that this TV show already surpassed 2 huge hurdles that, in my mind, it needed to overcome when it comes to Netflix TV shows. One of those being filler. Netflix TV shows are notorious, in my opinion, for having tons and tons of filler. A lot of fat still on the meat. 4 episodes in, and I'm not seeing much filler here. I'm genuinely enjoying everything that I'm seeing, and I feel like everything has a purpose so far. And number 2 being a consistent quality. A lot of Netflix TV shows have killer, amazing first episodes and then fall from there. Again, 4 episodes in, and I just feel like the show is getting better. So those are 2 main hurdles that the show has, again, already overcome, in my opinion, when it comes to most Netflix TV shows. Anyway, I'm going to get into it in more detail, and this is going to be full of spoilers, so if you haven't watched the TV show yet, consider going to watch it, especially if you're a Resident Evil fan, or even if you're not really a fan of the games or the universe. I feel like you can genuinely enjoy this TV show. But anyway, go watch it and then come back and watch this, because again, spoiler alert. And I'm going to structure my thoughts by talking about the 2 timelines separately. This TV show is set between 2 separate timelines, present day 2022 and then a time skip of 2036. So let's talk about the 2022 plot line. And I will say I am genuinely enjoying this plot line more than I thought I was going to. When I reacted to those trailers and I watched those trailers, I thought that the 2022 plot line was going to drag. I thought that it was going to be a bore. I thought it was going to be so hard to get through, and I was just going to watch all the futuristic stuff with all those badass looking action scenes. But I will say I am actually genuinely invested in the plot of what's going on in the 2022 timeline so far. I really like what's happening, and I have so many questions. As a fan of the Resident Evil games, as someone who loves the plot and the lore of the Resident Evil games, I was hesitant going into this because I thought that it was going to be treated poorly. And of course, you have so many questions. Like, again, I'm going to repeat some of the points I made in my episode 1 review. I'm going to repeat them here. But like, how is Umbrella still around when they went defunct in 2003? How is Albert Wesker still alive in a new body when he got blown away by 2 rocket launchers? How is there a new Raccoon City seemingly created by Umbrella when Umbrella caused the downfall of the original Raccoon City? How is any of this allowed to happen? And I thought going into it, it was just going to be disrespectful to the lore, disrespectful to what us fans know to be the plot of the Resident Evil video games, especially since in the press and in the media and in interviews, the showrunner and everyone involved said that the game events did happen in this universe. But so far, the vibes that I'm getting is not disrespectful. It's not a lack of knowledge about the lore. It's actually building mystery, something that I really like, something that was confirmed when this character in particular, a journalist from Tijuana, he shows up at New Raccoon City and he starts asking a lot of questions that I have as a viewer. He even says Albert Wesker died in 2009, which, by the way, Resident Evil 5 came out in 2009, so that's just telling me in my mind that they know the lore of Resident Evil, and that instead of it feeling like a cheap knockoff, halvesy, like saying it's in the universe just to appease game fans, but really not, I feel like they're actually paying respect to the lore of Resident Evil for the most part, which again just makes the plot so mysterious and so engaging and makes me want to keep watching just to know how they answer all these questions. And speaking of Albert Wesker, I'm liking his character a lot. I still don't know if he is Albert Wesker or if he's like a clone of Albert Wesker created by Umbrella using the genes of the body of the real Albert Wesker. I'm just not sure, but I really like seeing him on screen. I feel like the actor is giving an incredible performance. He has this care towards his daughters, but like there's a scene in particular when he's at a meeting with his daughter's principal because she got in a fight, and he shows that sort of like scary like dominance that Albert Wesker is known for. And then Evelyn Marcus is a really compelling character so far. I'm really liking her. Her last name is Marcus, so obviously, and I think she even said in the TV show, she is related to James Marcus. If you play the Resident Evil video games, you know James Marcus is an incredibly important character to the lore of Resident Evil, especially the history of Umbrella. But also her first name is Evelyn. So I wonder if there's a connection to, you know, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard with Evelyn. There may be a connection, or maybe it's just a coincidence that they share a first name. I'm not sure, but it's one of the reasons I keep watching, to know as many connections as I can. I will say the sisters, the two main characters, Jade and Billy, the acting in them is actually really good. Sometimes when you have characters that young in a TV show, especially if they're the main focus, if they don't get really good, you know, people to portray them, it can be a drag and it can be kind of boring to watch through, or if the writing's not good. I'm not going to say the writing is as good as something like, you know, Stranger Things, but I will say I am enjoying the performances and I care about them enough to get me through the plot, but it's not the main reason why I'm watching the TV show or the main reason why I'm so invested in the 2022 plotline. In fact, the reason I'm so invested in the show so far is plot as opposed to character, which is odd for me because me personally, I'm someone who's I'm character driven when it comes to the novels I read, the movies I watch, the TV shows, you know, stories and video games. I'm very character focused. I like to see how the plot affects the characters as opposed to how the characters affect the plot, if that makes sense. But this TV show is different. So far, I'm more invested in the plot than I am the characters. Anyway, let's get into the 2036 timeline. And I want to say right off the bat, I am genuinely thankful that Netflix gave this show the budget that it did, but more importantly, I am incredibly thankful, again, I said this already, but I'm going to say it again, the level of craft and care of the craft that seems to be given to this TV show, especially in these action sequences. And the 2036 timeline, we get so far, again, only 4 episodes in, we get so many really just fun and intense action scenes that I was not expecting to be as good and engaging and as fun and as thrilling as they are. Like, there's a scene in particular when our main character Jade is with Baxter. I'm going to talk about Baxter in a second. And they're brought into like this jail underground place by this Brotherhood clan. And when they escape, it was thrilling. It was so fun watching them escape, fighting, you know, human on human action, zombie on human on zombie action. I mean, just so much fun all the way around. And I just wasn't expecting this. I was expecting this to be a TV show made by people that didn't really care much. That's just the vibes that I was getting. But I'm glad to say that as of right now, it seems like I'm wrong from a plot perspective and just from a production and a direction and a writing perspective. It just seems like care and effort and thought was put into this TV show, and I'm thankful for that. I mentioned the BOWs. I want to talk about those again. There's so many BOWs already, only 4 episodes in, and I am incredibly thankful for that. I'm going to say that word a lot in this video, thankful. But BOWs, Resident Evil has so many great BOWs and designs, and the TV show, the movies never really utilized them as much as they could have. Like Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, the newest live action movie. I enjoy that movie. I like that movie more than most people, yes. But I am incredibly disappointed at how underutilized the BOWs were. We got one scene with a liquor. We got one very lame battle with William Birkin, and then we got zombies and like a dog in a scene. But like this TV show already, every episode is giving us a new BOW. And the way that these BOWs are introduced to these characters and the way they have to fight them, it's scary, it's thrilling. I really, really like it. The first episode, we get a giant maggot creature. We get Cerberus, the dog, in the 2022 timeline. We got a liquor scene already. We got the giant spider. Like, there's just so much cool stuff, and I really, really like how this world is set up, and I'm going to go into that now. The world in 2036 seems to be the best of both worlds, I believe. Where Jade is now is in Europe, and it seems to be clearly a post-apocalyptic world. Like, there's like clans and factions, and there's like some cities that are quote-unquote safe, but it's very post-apocalyptic. I don't believe, as of 4 episodes in, that the whole world is like that, because when Jade is FaceTiming her husband and her child, it seems to be that they're in a more civilized place, so I don't think the whole world is post-apocalyptic. But I really, really like that part of the world is, because whenever they turn the corner, we don't know what they're going to find. Like, Jade turns the corner, bam, liquor. She turns the corner again, the Brotherhood, that's just violent people. Turns the corner again, giant ass spider. It's just really fun, and it keeps you on your toes. You never know what's going to come around the corner next. And the world building, it's really fun. Every episode, Jade is in a new scenario, in a new situation. Like the first episode, she, came into this like outpost looking area, and then they were going to sell her out to Umbrella. Second episode, she was in a more city like civilization. The third episode, she's dealing with like these smugglers who are trying to get her underground. And then the fourth episode, she's again dealing with the Brotherhood. It's just so much world building in only 4 episodes, and again, I'm thankful for that. She never stays anywhere too long, so it's hard to really get invested in any one place. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but overall I am liking it, just because, again, it's really fun world building. And Baxter. I said I was going to talk about Baxter. I really liked him so far. Yes, he's a murdering, psychotic weirdo, but he had no right to be as funny as he was. He kind of reminded me, not due to his humor, but just because of his place in the universe. He kind of reminded me of Irving from Resident Evil 4, or maybe even like Salazar from, Irving from Resident Evil 5, or Salazar from Resident Evil 4, where he just seems like a really entertaining and fun side villain. Every good Resident Evil project should have a memorable side villain. Anyway, that's my quick thoughts and impressions on the first half of Resident Evil Season 1, the first 4 episodes. If you liked this video, consider subscribing. I'm going to do part 2 of this video within the next day or two. I'm going to discuss the second 4 episodes, so episodes 5 through 8. So again, consider subscribing if you're looking forward to that video. And again, I do TV show discussions, trailer reactions, movie discussions, the occasional video game, physical media thing, but Resident Evil is a staple on this channel now, so if you're at all interested in it, consider subscribing, and thank you for watching if you watched this far. What are you thinking, or what do you think of the show overall? Just please don't spoil anything that I haven't seen yet, but I'm genuinely curious, because I don't consume other media about a thing until I have finished it completely, so I really don't know, and I'm not gonna look at Rotten Tomato scores or like communities discussing it until I finish it fully and have my full thoughts. But let me know in a nutshell whether or not you enjoyed the show or not. Again, thank you for watching.